Hello and welcome to the Lorna Marie Fitness Podcast, the show where we talk all things fitness, health, mindset and lifestyle to help you become fitter, healthier and happier. I help busy people who lack time, motivation and self-belief to look and feel great again. If you want to work with me, head over to lornamariefitness.co.uk, but for now, enjoy this episode. Let's dive straight into the questions from this week. And just before I begin, I really hope you're enjoying the nutrition focus so far. So throughout the whole of November, we're doing a nutrition focus for the whole squad. And I'm going to be releasing a bonus resource. I was going to say piece of material, you know what I mean? A bonus resource each week. So this week, it was our Nourish Your Body ebook, where we talk all things nutrition, like a calorie and what it is, macros and if you need to be counting them, fasting, creatine, protein. So I would highly recommend looking at that ebook. And then next week it will be a recipe book, and the week after we'll be talking about a healthy food shop, what that looks like in a trolley, and the week after that inflammatory food. But I really hope this is useful, and don't forget we've got the whole nutrition area as well, and I'll pop all of those into the nutrition area at the end of the month too. So I really hope you enjoy it, gang. And any questions that you've got nutrition-wise, keep posting them on the Tuesday Q&As, and then we can go into a bit more of a deep dive on them and do some, deep dive coaching into nutrition. Okay, let's get to it. So question number 1, how do I break bad habits? I'm craving junk food. Now, firstly, just know that this is completely normal. And I think there's a few steps that we need to take here. And the most important one is to think about why it's happening. So why it's happening and when it's happening. Is it happening at a particular time of the day? Is it happening at a particular time of the month? Are your cravings worse in the evening or the afternoon? Are your cravings worse towards the end of the week or at the start of the week? Can you start to build up a bit of a picture here? Because you might start to notice a few patterns. And it tends to happen quite a lot of the time towards the end of the week. So when we've had a whole week of making decisions, we're feeling fatigued, we're feeling tired, we're feeling stressed, this can be when we really start to crave things. Or have you been avoiding it? Have you been telling yourself that you can't have these foods or labeling them as bad? Because if you are, human psychology says all we want are these foods. We want it. Someone says, don't touch the big red button. All you want to do is touch the big red button. If someone says something is bad, immediately our body kind of thinks, why is it bad? You kind of want the bad thing, the thing that we shouldn't be having, right? And junk food is highly palatable. It might be a bit higher in sugar. It might be higher in fat. It might be more processed. It might be higher in salt. It's more palatable. It keeps you wanting to come back for more. And it hits that reward center in your brain and gives us that dopamine response. So that feel good response that makes you want to keep going back for more. And this is how it can become a bit addictive. So my first thing would be to say, okay, when is this happening and why is it happening? Have you fed yourself properly throughout the day? Have you had a balanced meal? Have you been eating regularly throughout the day, or have you skipped meals? So you want to make sure that you're nourishing your body throughout the day, and all the meals that you're having are adequately balanced between protein, carbohydrates, and fats, healthy fats. So make sure you're having nourishing, balanced meals, enough of them, and you're not spending hours and hours, going without food, for example, and getting energy crashes. Let's keep our energy levels stable throughout the day. Number 2, are you getting enough sleep in your week? If you're not getting enough sleep, this can increase your levels of fatigue and therefore make it harder when it comes to making decisions about whether to have the junk food or not. And also your body will be craving some fast energy, and junk food tends to be more calorie dense and faster energy for your body to process. So it's no wonder if you're feeling really tired that you're craving it. Then number 3 is to see in the moment what you actually need. So in the moment when you're craving junk food, what is it that you need right now? What are you craving? Is it because you're really hungry? Is it because you've had a really stressful day and you're feeling a bit emotional? Is it because you're actually really bored? Or is it because you feel like you have no energy, you feel really tired? Or is it just because you fancy it? Try and work out why you're craving it. And then also allowing yourself a bit of junk food. Like what is wrong with it? It's not bad. It's not a bad thing. As long as you're nourishing your body 70% of the time, so you're giving your body nutrient-dense things like whole grains, lean proteins, healthy fats, fruits, veggies, things that come from the ground, as long as you're doing that the majority of the time, there is nothing wrong with having a bit of junk food. There's really nothing wrong with it. And actually, by completely eliminating it and saying that you can't have that, it's an unhealthy mindset in itself. But if you feel like at the moment it's become a bit of a problem and you feel like actually it's something that you want to cut down on, then it's time to challenge it. What I would do is, there's a few things you can do. So one, obviously, make sure you're eating adequately, you're getting enough sleep, etc. But let's say that you are doing that, but you're craving it anyway. In that moment, have you tried riding the wave? And a lot of people talk about this and saying literally just sitting with it. So sitting with the craving, knowing that there'll be like a peak of the craving, and then it will go, it will die down. And the more you do this, so the more you ride the wave of the crave, if you like, and not cave in, the easier it gets. The first few times will be really hard, but then the easier it gets and you become more in control. So do an experiment. Can you ride the wave? Number 2 is to put you back in the driver's seat and know that actually you are fully in control of your decisions. So it's only you who's putting that food into your mouth, nobody else. You are fully in control of the decisions that you make and the food that you put into your body. So it's reminding yourself of that. You have 2 choices. You can have the food and then how will you feel after? Or maybe you have a little bit of it, how will you feel after? Or you choose not to, how do you feel after? So play it out in your head. Play it out in your head and remind yourself that it's you who's in control and you're the person who's in charge. Another thing you could do is have like a glass of water or a cup of tea, or go and do something else. But I think realistically, and the way that you can actually make sure that you break the habit, if you like, is by actually doing it. By actually doing it and calling it like an experiment. And being curious, approaching it with curiosity, like, why do I feel like this? Why do I feel like I can't do this? Is it because I'm telling myself I can't? Because if that's the reason, because I am telling myself that I can't, so I can't, why don't you tell yourself you can? And try it once. Prove to yourself. Then you know you can do it. You need to stack up the evidence that you can go without it. And then you'll feel more empowered with your decisions. At the moment, you've probably got lots of evidence that you crave it and you cave into it. So therefore, it's become a really bad habit that you can't get out of. What about stacking up the evidence that you can? And that's where I'd start. Question number 2, what workouts are best when you're ill? I've been under the weather all week with a cold-like virus, so I haven't had the best week of exercise. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Do you know what? There's so much going around at the moment, isn't there? And it can feel really unsettling when you're not very well and we're meant to be working out, we're meant to be on a fitness journey, and you can think like, I've not done anything, I've not done as much as I want to do, it's not going to plan. But the thing is, if you're not well, if you've got a virus or you've got a cold, you're not well. You need to cut yourself some slack here and be kind to you and know that the best thing to do when you're not very well is to have some rest. That is the best thing to do for your health, for your fitness, for everything, is to rest so that you get better faster. No one is going to thank you for working out when you're not well, and your body certainly isn't going to thank you, and it probably will take much longer to get better because any extra energy your body's going to use to fix you, if you like. Whereas if we choose to do a workout, there's some extra energy gone on the workout and not on getting better. What you can do is, if you feel like it's not too bad, you might want to get out in nature and go on a walk. That can be quite a nice thing to do. Or a stretch, or a gentle yoga, or a pre-bedtime yoga. Something more gentle that isn't going to use loads of energy, so your body's still got energy to recover, yet you feel better. And quite often when we've got colds or cold-like viruses, you can get some real aches and pains. So it might actually be really beneficial and really nice to do a stretch, or if you go onto On Demand and you put in neck and shoulders, some really nice neck and shoulder stretches. So it might actually feel really, really nice to do that. And then you'll feel better. You'll feel better in your body, but you'll also feel better in your mind because you've done something, right? And then when you start to feel better, increase it little by little and just monitor it as you go. But don't give yourself a really hard time. Like, if you're not well, you're not well. Just control the controllables. After having a mastectomy with under the muscle reconstruction 7 years ago, I've been left with restricted mobility and weakness in my left arm and shoulder. I want to increase mobility and strengthen that side but not overwork it, but at the same time adequately work my right side. At the moment I'm using the holistic classes and strength to do this, but on my left side I can only lift 2k, but I can lift a lot heavier on my right. So any tips for progressing this would be great. Now, I'm not a physio, so I would say that if you're not seeing a physiotherapist already, I definitely would, because they will help you build strength in your left side without causing lots of imbalances. So the last thing you want to be doing is just working, for example, just the right side, because then any imbalances that you've already got might be exacerbated. So I would definitely be working with a physiotherapist, but as a general rule, you want to be focusing on your mobility first. So making sure that that side is mobile. So things like arm raises, circles. Then you could incorporate some isometric exercises. So that is where you're holding a position without moving, like pressing your palm against a wall or holding a weight out at arm's length, or even using a band. You could even use the booty bands, but an elastic band, something like that. You could use the bands to increase your strength as well. So rows, lateral raises, tricep extensions, etc. But what you want to do is you want to be doing progressive overload. So very slowly though. So approach it with caution, take your time with it, and build it up bit by bit, even if it means holding onto a tin or that 2K, and you focus on low weights and high repetition with the 2K. And then maybe you move to 2.5, maybe you move to 3, and just increase it really, really steadily. Probably starting with the left side before you move to the right, so you've got all your focus on this side, your weaker side. Focus on that first, maybe even doing a few more reps on that side before the other side. But I'd definitely be working with a physio to, kind of match both sides here, so unilateral exercises. Just really approach that with caution. Things like yoga and Pilates are also really, really good because it's practicing holding weight in your upper body. So, for example, when we come down into a chaturanga and we're lowering our body down, it's like a tricep push-up. You're lowering down really, really slowly before you then push back up again. So doing regular yoga and that kind of style of movement is really nice for mobility and also building strength up bit by bit. You could start on your knees, for example, and then progress to the toes. So using your body weight here, depending on how this feels, of course. But I think it's really important just to track your progress. So maybe write down what weights you're using now and what you're doing right now, and track your progress, and make sure you're having enough rest in between as well so that your muscles can actually recover in between. But like I said, that's quite sort of generic advice. I don't exactly know where you are with it right now. As I said, I definitely speak to like a professional in this area, but that's as a general rule, that's kind of what I would say to do. And I would also be looking at doing strength exercises like as a minimum twice a week, maybe more. So you could even do like twice a week strength and then incorporate some yoga Pilates. Not a question for the Q&A, but I've done the Halloween blat this morning. Absolutely loved it. Do you ever call Tech Will, when in company outside of LMF squad? That has happened, yes. And I'm really glad you enjoyed Halloween blat as well. That was crazy. I like that workout. Yeah, anyone else enjoy it? If you've not done it, you've got to do it. If you don't mind listening to Halloween stuff after Halloween. Oh, hey, Harvey. What are you doing? Harvey's my little dog. Do you want to say hi? Do you want to say hi? I don't think he's too bothered about saying hi. He's by my feet though. You can chill by my feet. Being away with work this week and finding food choice and timings and drinking water harder. Do you have any tips? It can be so difficult when you're away and you're not in your normal routine. So, depends on the situation really, but with water, take a bottle with you wherever you go. Just keep filling it up wherever you go. Keep one in your bag, take one in your hand. Usually, if you're away with work, they tend to be pretty good at like refilling water. But I would just always have my water bottle with me all the time. Take it with you. Take a nice big one, even one that's got like the readings on the side of how much you've drunk. Or if you take a bottle and you, for example, a 500 ml, and you know that you need to fill that up 5 times, keep it with you at all times. With the food side of things, it's tricky. It's really tricky because it depends on your time, it depends on what's being provided, and sometimes it can depend on what other people are having. You know, you might feel that peer pressure to do what other people are doing, but know, just as I said before, that it's only you who can control what goes into your mouth and into your body. So you've just got to think about you and you first. What I would do is, say if you're in a buffet situation, always start with your protein source. So go for about palm size amount of protein, lean proteins. Secondly, I would look at getting some whole grains in there. So what have they got there whole grain wise that you can put in? And thirdly, getting some healthy fats in there and making sure that you're filling your plate up with salads, with veggies, and maybe choosing options where it's like grilled as opposed to fried or baked. So baked or grilled as opposed to fried. Going for things without the dressing or the dressing on the side. And it's just about making smart choices where you possibly can. You know, if you're in a situation where you're going back to the hotel room at night and actually you've had to get a meal deal, like what options are you faced with there? How could you make a smart choice? Instead of going for the pack of crisps with it, can you go for the fruit pot? Or could you go for the carrot sticks and the hummus, for example? Make smart choices where you can. And before you go, can you just pack loads of healthy snacks? So get some nuts in there, maybe take some protein bars with you, take some things like, I don't know if you ever had the naked bars, but they're really, really good because they're just made with wholesome ingredients and whole ingredients. It's literally like dates and nuts and that's it. And they taste really good. And things like that, so minimally processed. Can you just pack your bag with them? Or maybe if you're traveling somewhere else, can you go and find a local shop? Whether it's in the UK or not, I'm not sure, but just like the local Tesco, and just get a load of healthy snacks so that you've got them there. You can keep your energy levels at a good level throughout the day. And think about portion sizing as well. When you're away, or if you're eating out in restaurants quite a lot, or you're faced with buffets, for example, portion sizes can actually be often quite a lot bigger than our bodies need. So just be really, really careful with your portion sizes. You could think palm size for protein, fist for carbohydrates, and then a thumb for healthy fats. I have creaky knees. How do I know if my squats are good enough? I don't always think I go low enough. Now, creaky knees are normal, don't worry. Don't worry, as long as it doesn't hurt, generally it isn't an issue. What I would do is go to the how-to area and look at squats and how we break down a good quality squat. Film yourself doing it at an angle so you can see yourself side on, and then you'll see if you're getting the range. So generally we say squat but just above knees when we're doing like stronger. You can go below. Generally, you'd never really hear me say the same height as knee level, because that's kind of like the weakest point, if you like, when your knees are at that angle. So you can go just below or just above. Generally speaking, just get your butt just above knee height. That's great. If that feels too low for you and your body, it doesn't feel nice, don't go as low. It doesn't really matter too much. Just see what feels good in your body. And if you do struggle, it might be a case of, are you engaging your core properly when you do it? Are you engaging your glutes properly when you do it? Because quite often, if we're not engaging those two areas, we can put more pressure into the knees. So make sure you're engaging your glutes, You do things like booty band. It's called bodycon on demand. Doing things like booty band can really improve strength in this area. And make sure that you're working your hip flexibility, your ankle flexibility, which can also contribute to feeling a bit restricted in squats. So have a look at the how-to area, film yourself or get someone to film you so you can actually see yourself doing it. And if you're not sure, just send it in to me. And of course, yeah, think about those other things as well. Core, glutes, and then the flexibility in your hips, ankles, and hamstrings actually, back of the legs. I have a goal to shrink my middle a couple of inches in the next 4 weeks as I've got some concerts coming up and I'm struggling to fit into my dresses. I wondered what might be the best workouts to help me do that. I realise it's a combination of exercise and nutrition and sleep and everything. And I had a 4-day trip away last week with lots of unplanned treats, but I wondered if there are any specific workouts I need to focus on. Okay, so firstly, if we're looking at losing weight, or we're on a weight loss journey, losing body fat as in fat is only excess stored energy. A lot of people think of fat as oh, I am fat. No, it's just excess stored energy. So if we're looking at losing some excess stored energy, then we always recommend a weight loss goal of 1 to 2 pounds per week. No more, and ideally no less. You might, if you're on a weight loss journey, you might get times where you plateau or, you know, the weight isn't going to go down every single week. Particularly as women, we have a lot of weight fluctuations due to water, due to the time of month, due to digestion, if you've been to the toilet or not, your stress levels. If you've had salty food, for example, you might hold a bit more water. Anyway, as a general rule of thumb, 1 to 2 pounds per week weight loss. That's a good aim. Any more than that, it ends up being ridiculously unsustainable. Your energy levels will plummet and you won't be able to keep up to it. And we want to make sure we're maintaining as much lean muscle mass as possible so you have that beautiful, healthy, toned look. And it's also not going to be detrimental for your metabolism, as that's linked to how much lean muscle mass you have. When it comes down to what workouts will help you do that, it's all about being in a calorie deficit. So it's going to be your nutrition that you want to look at. So you want to be in a calorie deficit, meaning that calories in are less than calories out. And when I say calories out, it doesn't mean that you need to do more and more and more exercise, becoming a hamster on a wheel. It's just literally how your body is using energy. And it uses energy to breathe, to move, to digest. So it's going to be a case of manipulating your portion sizes. So you want to track, what kind of weight loss you're doing at the moment. And if it plateaus, drop your portion size by 20%. Monitor it for 3 to 4 weeks. Do it again, and then do it again if you need to. You might find that actually you're already losing 1 to 2 pounds a week, so that's a good rate, right? We'll keep that going. And then you might find that you hit a plateau. Reduce the portion size by 20%. Keep that going. And it's a case of reviewing and tweaking all the time. And to do that, we need a bit of consistency in our diet. So we're having like the same breakfast, same lunch, but swapping out the protein source, similar at dinner time as well. And then maybe a couple of snacks, one of them being some fruit and the other one being like a Greek yogurt, for example, or whatever you might choose. But what you want is the consistency in the routine. So you've got something to go from here, and then you know how to reduce portion sizes. But the key here is just trust the process and stick with it. It doesn't matter how long it takes as long as we're going in the right direction. So make sure that you are nourishing your body, you're eating enough protein, you are strength training at least twice a week, minimum, maybe more if you can. So I'd say 2 times a week minimum, 3 if you can, because that is going to help you maintain lean muscle mass. And that is going to be good for your metabolism, and it's going to be good for your body shape too. So make sure you're doing that, and your bone density and so much more. Anyway, make sure you're doing that. And then for the waist, do some Pilates, it'll improve your core strength, but there is no exercise where you can say, right, I want to lose X amount of inches from X, because that's called fat spot reducing, and it's not a thing. You can't choose an area on your body where you want to lose body fat first. That is going to come with your genetics. But what you can do is you can tone and shape the muscles in that area so that when the weight does come off, you've got that beautiful tone and you're looking good. You're looking, healthy. That's what we want. So just make sure that you're getting a really good variety in there, and it's going to be a case of looking at nutrition. Protein first, and then build around it. I can't get motivated and I'm feeling really low. Oh. With this one, I think what you have to remember is by doing anything, any exercise, you will feel immediately better. The reward from exercise is immediate. When you put a class on, whatever it is, whatever you really enjoy, give it 2 or 3 minutes and you'll be feeling better already. It's always a thought of doing it. So when you're feeling really unmotivated and you're feeling down, it's always the thought of doing it that is the worst thing. As soon as you get there, you've done the warm-up, you'll instantly be feeling better. And think of the alternative as well. What is the alternative? That you don't do something and you don't feel any better. And then as you continue to get into the habit of not doing anything, you definitely won't feel any better, and actually you can go into a bit of a downward spiral with it. You've got to draw a line and just get onto a class knowing that it will make you feel so much better, and after class you'll be in a totally different headspace. And just remember that action creates motivation and not the other way around. So we can't wait for motivation to come and sit on our shoulder and be like, yay, today's the day, because it doesn't work like that. You just got to pull on your big girl panties and you got to do it, and then you feel better, and then you feel motivated. So know that. So bearing that in mind, off you go. Go and do one. 5 minutes of anything. Next question. What is the best eating plan to follow? We are bombarded with different approaches, low carb, low fat, etc. I know protein is the most important source. I did a couple of weeks of keto eating and actually think I put weight on. Okay, so with this one, the best eating plan to follow is one that is right for your body, okay? One that's right for your body. And the only one that I will ever advocate is eating a healthy, balanced diet. The reason why we get all these things thrown at us like, oh, eat low carb, do the keto diet, have low fat, blah, 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 is because someone is the other side trying to make money out of it. We all know that our body has certain requirements and things that it needs. So you need protein for your muscles, for your muscle repair, for your hair, for your skin, for your nails. We need carbohydrates as one of our body's favorite sources of fuel. So to feel energized, to feel good, to fuel our workouts, it's really important. We need fruits and veggies for our vitamins and our minerals. We need calcium in the diet for our bones, vitamin D, all our essential vitamins and all of our essential proteins. It's really important to make sure you're eating a balanced diet. And that is going to start with the protein, but it's not necessarily like the most important. I would say they're all as important as each other for different reasons. So a lot of people are scared of fat, and it's that typical like 90s noughties, oh, don't eat fat because it makes you fat. No, it doesn't. By eating fat, your cells will be happy, your hormones will be happy, and without it, they won't. It's really important. So making sure that we have a balance. So yes, you can start with protein. I always recommend starting with protein and building out from that. So protein, get your whole grains in there, your healthy fats, making sure that you're having good variety. So every plate that you look at, so your breakfast, your lunch, your dinner, can you look at it and make sure that it's balanced? Have a look at the ebook, and then also have a look at the portion size guide in the nutrition area, and have a look at the nutrition guide in the nutrition area. And then I break down everything that you should be including in your meal. But the best place to start is where you are at already. Like, what do you normally have for breakfast? What do you normally have for lunch? What do you normally have for dinner? Make 2 tweaks to that. For example, if at the moment you have a bowl of Rice Krispies for breakfast, you could look at that and be like, okay, right, how could I improve on this breakfast of Rice Krispies? And there's nothing wrong with having Rice Krispies for breakfast, by the way, nothing wrong at all. It can be quite a balance. If you're having, particularly if you're having whole milk with it, then you've got calcium in there from the milk. You've got some healthy fats in there from the milk. I know not everyone likes cow's milk and some people argue about it, but hey, look, let's look at it for what it is, right? Then you've also got like your carbohydrate source for, yeah, but well, from the Rice Krispies, of course, and they quite often add like vitamins and minerals in. Obviously, of course, it's important to get it from whole foods first. Anyway, I could go off on a spiral, but what could be better than that? How about some poached eggs on toast with some tomatoes? Or how about a bowl of Greek yogurt with some fruit and nuts? You know, that kind of thing. Just think about, okay, there's one tweak. I've changed the breakfast this week. What's one other tweak I can make? Oh, in the afternoon, I normally have like a few biscuits. Okay, right. Well, instead then, what can we have instead of that? What about a banana? Or what about even like what I was talking about earlier, like a naked bar or something? Can we have that instead? Small tweaks. That's what we need to do. But the reason why you might have found you put weight on by doing keto is keto basically cuts carbohydrates out, and it relies heavily on fats. Now, fat doesn't make you fat, but it is more calorie dense per gram. So carbohydrates and protein, they're 4 calories per gram, whereas fat is 9 calories per gram. Alcohol is 7. So you can see where I'm getting at here. If you're filling your plate up with lots of healthy fats, yes, it is good for you, but it's also more calorie dense if you're filling your plate up with it. So therefore, yeah, it really depends. But I would really advocate giving your body what it needs, and that's healthy balance. Meal prep tips, please. I'm having renovations. Oh my goodness me. I remember having the renovations. It's not nice, is it? And here's what I did. So I got loads of pre-cooked stuff. So for example, you can get, or even things like tins of tuna. So I got pre-washed salad already, pre-washed, done. And then things like cans of tuna, pre-cooked boiled eggs, pre-cooked chicken for Will. I'm a pescatarian myself, but I was getting things like already, pre-cooked salmon that you can get. Super easy. Just bang it all in a bowl or on a plate. So it's all already pre-cooked. Everything's pre-washed, and then you can add things like quinoa to it or brown rice to it, which is already, again, pre-cooked. So there's things that you can do like that, of course. That really helps. If you have the luxury of some cooking facilities, can you just do a load of bulk? So say if you spend one day making a meal, even if it's like a fast meal or whatever, can you just do extra so you can use it for the next day and then the day after as well? That can really, really help. You could focus on one pot or one pan meals, like one pot stews. If you've got a slow cooker, they can be your best friend, or even a microwave. The microwave was definitely our best friend. Pre-cooked grains like quinoa or like pre-chopped veggies, they can be dead useful. But I think batch cooking, if you can, if you have the luxury, you've got the facilities to just batch for the next 2 days or something. That is what I would do. Just prep in bulk. Just be flexible. Be flexible where you can. And if you end up getting things like meal deals, like we did some nights, making just really smart choices where you can. And also for snacks, having things like pre-packed nuts and fruit or veggies with hummus that you can get, that can really help. For lunches, sandwiches, wraps, breakfasts, yogurt, fruit, whatever you can take with you. Even things like protein pots. I know they're not perfect, but they can be super, super handy. How important are protein powder supplements? I've seen some added to recipes, and how do you know which ones to choose? So they're not important at all. Really, ideally you'd be getting your protein from your diet first and foremost. But if you struggle to get enough protein in, there can be, a nice supplement, and that's what they are, supplement to your current diet. I tend to add them to porridge, but I just have like 1 scoop a day, pop it in my porridge in the morning, just to get that protein in first thing in the morning. Apart from that, I get it all from whole foods. Which one to choose? just go onto My Protein and choose a basic one. There's no real right or wrong. What you want to do is go for one that has minimal ingredients. And if you're somebody who struggles with digesting protein, you could go for whey isolate instead of whey concentrate, or you could look for alternatives like soy protein or pea protein. I personally hate the taste of pea protein. I think it's awful. So I personally use whey. I use flavored whey. But I would just go for the one that has minimal ingredients. You could go down an absolute wormhole with protein powder, and so many companies, add loads of random stuff to it. But if you're just getting it for the protein factor, and you're making sure that you're eating a balanced diet the rest of the time, then just get yourself on My Protein or Amazon, and you don't need to get anything fancy, honestly. I've fallen off the wagon. How do I not feel guilty about this? I think firstly, you just recognize that you're human. You are human, and falling off the wagon isn't an on or off state or situation. It's like part of the journey. As human beings, we're not going to be 100% on it all the time. And I realise that'll look slightly different to different people, but it's normal. So I think firstly, acknowledging that, well, I'm human, that's okay. This is the situation that we're in right now, and I've got two options. I can, quote unquote, get back on the wagon. I can draw a line and move on, or I can dwell in this, and it's not going to get me anywhere. So I think the point here is what you want to do is draw a line. It doesn't matter about what already has or hasn't happened. It's all about what you decide to do next. So let the past be the past, draw a line and move on with your normal routine. So there's no point in trying to overcompensate for anything. It doesn't work. It's not sustainable. The best thing that you can do is draw a line and move on from it. Just because we spilt a bit of milk, it doesn't mean we need to stand there and pour the whole container out. We just mop it up and we move on and don't even think about what's already happened. And do you know what? It's so many people feel like they can't do it, and then they almost bully themselves, like, oh, this always happens. Why have I fallen off the wagon? I shouldn't have eaten that. I've had loads of junk food. I just completely went overboard. I haven't done any exercise in 4 weeks. I'm just so rubbish and blah, blah, blah. And just really tell themselves this awful story about themselves in their head and about how they can't do it, and end up becoming the story they tell themselves, because they're just building up this evidence that they're eating junk food all the time, they never stick to their exercise, they're off the wagon, they can't do it, they need to find something else. And they just stack up all this evidence, so they start to believe it, and it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Whereas what you actually need to do is flip it on its head and be like, no, that's happened. I'm not doing that anymore. I'm drawing a line and I'm moving on. And start to build up the evidence that you can do it. And also build up evidence that when things do, like, hit the fan, I was gonna swear then, that you can draw a line and move on. That you are strong enough to be like, pick yourself up, dust yourself down, never mind, doesn't matter, let's move on, because I'm not going that way, I'm moving forwards. Fitness and or weight loss and or health and or getting on track with your diet, with your healthy diet, it's not a linear process. There's going to be ups and downs, but the most important thing is about the overall picture, the overall progress, not the little blips along the way. Struggling with lunch ideas to incorporate more veggies, and I'm getting bored with homemade soup every day and it's a bit chilly for salads. Any ideas on easy prep healthy lunches? Well, we've got another nutrition book coming out next week for squaddies. Also, you've got the ones in the nutrition area already. So if you haven't already, have a look at those. But there's so many things you can do. So many things. You could do stir fries, so veggie stir fries. Mix up things like peppers, broccoli, carrots, with snap peas or tofu and chicken. And you could serve that with quinoa or rice. You could have veggie wraps, put some hummus in, carrots. You could have a baked potato. You could do I've already said, but like quinoa salad, for example, with loads of roasted veggies. You could make a frittata even, and just get a load of eggs, put a load of veggies in and bake it. And then also you could do, you could batch cook that quite easily. Couscous, stuffed peppers, you could do a veggie chili, you could do a pasta dish, even like a pesto pasta dish with loads of peas in. I really like that one. Really love that. You can even put some feta on top. Love feta. And yeah, there's so many options. Some people even like having savoury porridge and then adding things like egg and mushroom. I mean, I'm not really that kind of person. I'm like, no, porridge needs to be sweet, but it works for some people. But there's loads of different ideas of what you could do for some lunches anyway. And of course, like even things like toasties. What about like a roasted veggie toasty? Or panini. Anyway, team, I hope that's been really useful, and I really hope you enjoy this month's nutrition focus. Definitely have a look at the ebook if you haven't already. And I will see you in class tomorrow, or I'll see you on live replay tonight. Take care, team, and I'll see you soon. And I just want to say, as a side note, if you are listening to this and you're not a squaddy, but you need to work on your nutrition and get into good routines, and you need the support and the accountability and the motivation to get you there, then come and join our 6-week reboot. The people who actually get results start now, as in this side of Christmas, because they're the ones who are serious and the ones who are going to do it. So now is a really, really good time. Head to lornamariefitness.co.uk, click get started, and one of our lovely team will be in touch with you, and I will see you very soon. Let's do it.